What is going on, all of you amazing gamers out there in the world? I am Mega Amster. Thank you for watching this YouTube video. Whether you are a new or returning viewer, appreciate you stopping by. And I am back from vacation and had the inkling to talk about mobile versions of games because very recently, literally just today as of this recording, what I did was I recently had bought something from Best Buy. Occasionally when you buy, like, especially Apple products from Best Buy, they'll give you like a bunch of like pretty much 1, 2, 3 month free trial codes, at least in the States. And one of those was an Apple Arcade code for just like a few free months. So I'm like, you know what, screw it. Let me use it up now. It expires at the end of the month and try out some games. Now, I did try out Apple Arcade previously with Sonic Dream Team's launch. We'll be talking about the game in a second here. But this, I kind of returned to it with this 3-month free trial, which is quite a bit of time. So I figured I'd download quite a few games. And it kind of got me thinking about all the mobile versions of games I have played or have tried out just a little bit. And let's just jump into them. Some are good, some are bad, some are decent. But let's jump into this first one here. Of course, what you're listening to, what you're seeing is Vampire Survivors on mobile. Now, I believe this one came out before the Switch version or the console version. Let me know your thoughts. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong about that. I believe it was Steam first and then it came to mobile after. And a game like this, right? I played this game for the first time last year. I was super hooked because I played the Switch version. But this version of this game, right? You would think it would work super well on mobile phones, which is kind of designed to work well on a mobile phone. Like, you can imagine all sorts of microtransactions they could do for the game, right? But to be honest, like, it's just the controls for me. And this is the biggest issue for me, at least, and from what I've heard from a lot of players online who try mobile game ports, especially for those who are used to PC or console. It's just the touchscreen controls do not always work for a game. This game, I think, can be played, and I'm sure if I had played this version first, I would have gotten into it more on the phone. It's just, it's such a pick up and play game, a quick little game like that, so it is perfect in terms of the portability, but in terms of just the controls, it's my biggest issue is trying to move my character. And even if it's like you can essentially drag anywhere on the screen and you have to aim it, that's my biggest issue with phone gaming, is aiming almost like a thumbstick, your finger, and dragging it in terms of which direction you want to go. And you can do that anywhere on the screen to move in this game, to be fair, which a lot of other mobile ports don't do. But it's the age-old issue of like these mobile phone games just not controlling well unless they're specifically designed for mobile or do not involve some sort of complex movement, which this game, not that it's complex movement, but it's multi-directional movement, and you are, you know, making your player character go in the direction that you want to. And it's just, that's my biggest issue with this game. And like I said, this game is totally designed to be like, you know, a mobile game in terms of just all the little elements, all the pick up and play nature, but just the controls don't do this version justice for me. Like, I've put about 5 minutes into it. I don't expect to put more time on the phone into it because I've played the Switch version, because I've played the version that has more precise direct control. But still, I mean, it works. If you want to play Vampire Survivors, it is still much better than nothing. In my opinion, it's probably the worst version to play, but especially for the portability, depends on what you value. You know, for me, just the controls kind of ruin the experience. So, unfortunately, lesser of a mobile port for me personally, but let me know in the comments below if you've enjoyed that port. I've got a bunch of different ones here. Balatro, I tried this one out a bit, and this one is better because, right, you're just kind of dragging cards and playing cards left and right. You're not moving your player character everywhere, right? There really is no player character. You are the main protagonist fighting against pretty much the house, right? I'm refraining from calling it poker because I know it's technically not poker. A game like this just works super well. For me, the biggest issue is just the small screen. You know, I play this on Steam Deck, which was a great system for it, which kind of had the touch screen and just a bigger screen overall. The Switch version, I imagine, would be really great too. That small phone screen size, I don't think does this game justice. Especially like just like the really good quality pixel art. It's nice to have that on a bigger portable screen. But this is definitely a better scenario for me personally than something like Vampire Survivors. Right here, the one thing I had to get used to was dragging the cards to specific like play spots on the screen, which I didn't do on the Steam Deck version. I just kind of did the button prompts to get them to move to where they needed to go. But it works really well for mobile. Just my biggest thing, like I said, is the screen size. But this is a game that not necessarily designed for mobile, because I believe the mobile version came out after the fact, right? I believe it launched on Steam and Switch first. Let me know in the comments below if that's wrong. But it works. You know, just the gameplay style that it is, being a card-based game, it works really well for mobile. And I think a lot of games in that genre could work well for mobile, depending on you know, exactly what kind of card-based game it is. But Balatro is one that works, at least for me. So that was a solid one. Now, as I mentioned, we were going to talk about Sonic Dream Team a little more. Sonic Dream Team's an interesting scenario because I talked about this in a video last year on the channel. Go check that out if you're interested, kind of giving my overall thoughts on it. And I pretty much 100% completed what content they had in the game. There have been updates since, and so I'm kind of currently checking that out now while I have the 3 months free Apple Arcade. This game, it's tough because I hear the argument about how this game would be better if it was on console and people want it to be ported to console. Yes and no, because this game is designed for mobile in terms of just how short the levels are, the mission-based structure. It's the same thing with Vampire Survivors where the controls aren't great. However, I honestly think it's better than Vampire Survivors because it has that little like thumbstick overlay and the button overlay. So I at least know where I'm supposed to put my hands and they designed the screen space to account for that. So I'm not blocking pretty much any of the action going on the screen, which is really, really nice. So honestly, I really like Sonic Dream Team. Would I prefer to play it on my Switch? Sure. I think a mobile platform really fits the structure of this game. This is very much a pick up and go game, right? I'm not going to sit here and play 2 hours of Sonic Dream Team. I know some players probably do. You probably beat the game in that amount of time, but this is a game I play in bursts, and I'm going to continue to play in bursts just because I like it so much, and I'm playing it on Apple Arcade again. This is one that I think works. It's not perfect. It doesn't feel quite as good to play as something like a Balatro, which just naturally fits the mobile phone space. But I think for what they did here, given the constraints, I think it's decent, you know? I really think it's decent. And, you know, it is a very fun 3D Sonic game designed well for mobile. I would put it up there as probably one of my favorite Sonic mobile games, up there with like a Sonic Dash, up there with Sonic Runners, the original one, if anybody remembers that. But more of like a mission structure game. I think it works. Like I said, constrained by the platform, but I think this is one you should definitely check out if you ever get like a free code for Apple Arcade. I believe you automatically get like a month free Apple users. Correct me in the comments below if I'm wrong about that. Not sure if it's on Android either. Might just be Apple. Actually, I think it's just Apple Arcade, which is kind of annoying. It would just be great to get it off that system or that service, but who knows if that'll happen? Probably not. Sticking with Sonic, here's a bad example. Okay. This was my first experience with Sonic 4, and it's funny because they have some like specific level gimmicks in Sonic 4 that are not in like the console version, right? There's one level in the casino area that's different. I think it might be the pinball one. I don't know if that's in the console version. I think they got rid of that. But also, as you saw right there, the minecart section in the labyrinth area was completely exclusive to, I think there were some minecarts in the console version, but they had a whole level based around tilting the phone, like the motion, the gyro in the phone, and the rolling ball as well. I forgot about how annoying that was. So the mobile version of Sonic 4 Episode 1 had exclusive content. I don't think 2 did, because I played Episode 2 on mobile as well first, before the console version. So yes, I know I played the worst versions. However, the visuals on the mobile version actually look a lot better. There's something weird about the lighting, as you can see here. This is the console version that just looks kind of off, but the mobile version actually surprisingly looks a little better. This is not a good game. It's not a good game, and playing it on mobile is not great. The level gimmicks that use mobile utilize it well enough, but you got to keep in mind this was what, 2010. This was like in the early days of mobile phone games and ports, and this one not so great. Not so great. And you'd think this would be better than something like a Sonic Dream Team, which is fully 3D, and this is a 2D game, right? But like, no. It's just not, on top of being just not a great game, it doesn't feel great to play on mobile. And I don't know, it's definitely the console version is better. But this version I would say is more interesting because of the mobile kind of gimmicks with like the gyro and moving your phone around. I think it's honestly kind of looks better too. The console version has the weird lighting. It is a more interesting version, I would say, than the console version, which usually doesn't happen. I wouldn't say better, but more interesting for sure with the unique gimmicks they had in that version. But that's enough Sonic. Let's move on. We got a few more here. This is one I have not played, and I need to ask on you all in the comments below if you've played this version to let me know, because I've never played a Professor Layton game, but shout out to Jared. He was recommending because I've never played Professor Layton, and I bought the Phoenix Wright Professor Layton crossover game on the 3DS eShop before they closed down, what, a year and a half ago? And I bought that, but I never played Professor Layton. He was like, bro, you got to play a Professor Layton game before you play the crossover. I'm like, okay. And I believe Curious Village is the first one. This to me seems like a game, along with like the Phoenix Wright games, which I believe are also on mobile. I feel like these games would work super well on mobile. This is more of a hypothetical one that if, sorry for the crusty footage, if any of you know in the comments below, definitely let me know how the mobile port is, because visual novels also seem like, along with card-based games, a format that would work really well for mobile phones, especially if you're just kind of clicking to go and progress, like, and puzzle solving from what I understand, right? These were originally, what, DS games? There were some on the 3DS as well. So having the touchscreen, I feel like, works perfectly well for that, you know? So definitely let me know your thoughts on if you've played this mobile port of Professor Layton: The Curious Village in the comments below. I imagine it would be good, and I think I'm going to check out the mobile version. Definitely let me know if I shouldn't, though. If this is a bad version, definitely let me know in the comments below. But I imagine visual novels would also work quite well. All right, this one's funny. And fighting game fans, you're going to cringe at this because this was... I didn't get too far into it. I put a good amount of time into this, but didn't get too far. I've never played the actual like console PC version of Injustice. I've only played the mobile version to this day. I want to say because it might have been free when it launched on mobile or something with microtransactions. I don't know, but like I barely remember playing this one. I just remember it not being great. But me being a young enough gamer and like trying out mobile ports of stuff, you know, because okay, I had a smartphone. I had an iPod Touch. I think it was an iPod Touch, actually. It might have been iPod Touch that, you know, could play some of these mobile ports. We'll get to another one at the very end of this video. I'm saving the best for last. But here, just like a fighting game on a mobile port is probably the worst pairing you could ever have, right? You are not getting precise controls on a mobile phone in terms of this style of fighting game. Let me know in the comments below if there is a fighting game that's actually very well designed for mobile. I would be very curious to know if there is. I'm sure it'd be possible. It would be very different, though, from like a fighting game like this that is much more, I don't want to say standard, but more, you know, refined in terms of controls, right? Something along the lines of a Mortal Kombat, right? I still really want to play. I have it on Steam. I want to play that version. The mobile version was definitely interesting, though. I'm trying to, it might have just been like QuickTime events. For some reason, that's sticking in my mind. Maybe it was just because I was a dumb kid and I was button mashing. I don't know. But like that's the memory I have in my mind of like almost like QuickTime events. I just loved it because I was really getting into Batman at that time. And I was like, ooh, look, they've got Injustice fighting game on mobile. And it ran pretty badly too. It's just a weird memory I have of this game that I've never played the actual like good version and just this. But yeah, long story short, mobile fighting games do not work on mobile. They really don't, unless they're designed for it. Like I said, if you know of any examples, let me know in the comments below. I would love to know if there are any mobile fighting games out there that are actually designed for the platform. But most standard ones, I don't even know. They probably have Street Fighter 2 on mobile. Let me know in the comments below. I'm sure that's a nightmare. All right, a couple more here, everybody. Here's one that does work. This is interesting because this was my first exposure to Dragon's Lair, which was, when did this come out? Let me know in the comments below. Old arcade game, right? The whole premise is like you have, shout out to Touch Gameplay for the next couple sessions of gameplay here. Shout out to them. But essentially, this game was interesting because you're trying to progress through essentially a sequence of short little movies, right? And you're trying to press the right direction to avoid specific obstacles or navigate a path to eventually rescue the princess. You're playing as a knight trying to navigate this castle. Now, with this version, because like I said, this is the first version I played, they will literally tell you, I think you could turn it off, but they will tell you, and it worked great for new players like me who never played the original arcade game, to like, they'll glow which button to press. Now, granted, you still only have like a half a second, maybe, if even that, to press the correct button. But it makes it a lot less cryptic, right? The original arcade game was designed to eat up your quarters. They wouldn't tell you which one to press. But here the challenge is your reflexes. How quickly can you press the appropriate buttons, right? And so I think this is a great version, honestly. I have a lot of fond memories of playing the mobile version of Dragon's Lair. And then not that long ago, maybe like a year or two ago, I tried out the arcade version for the first time. Man, it was so tough. It's like I did not memorize it. I've beaten this game on mobile just because they tell you which directions to press, but I did not memorize the sequence of buttons for sure. If you do, you're getting through this game just fine. So this is another one where just the simple button prompts with the overlay really, really works. Really, really works for the style of game. Oh, I just remembered one more actually that I kind of want to bring up. Sorry for doing this right here. I'm gonna save the really bad one for last. You can already tell what it is. Oh, what was it called though? Was it? I think it was called Tyrian. Is that what it was? Yes. Yes, this was it. Yep. Shout out to Tetsuo9999 for this. Tyrian, for anybody who's aware, is a shmup. And also an old shmup that I believe was originally on PC. This version of Tyrian I actually really like too. I think shmups actually work pretty well too. Oh my god, this is so... Can I zoom in? I don't know. I won't be on this one for long. This one literally just popped in my mind because I was playing it around the same time as Dragon Slayer Mobile. Shmups also work quite well for mobile, I will say. I had played the hell out of this port of this game. I believe it's a port. I think it was originally on PC. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong about this. This was probably like one of the first shmups I technically ever played. This genre also works really well on mobile, I will say. It really... Especially, I think the big thing is that your ship's on the bottom of the screen. Oh yeah, this is bringing back memories. Your ship's on the very bottom of the screen, so when you move, you're not like blocking anything coming towards you. So I think it works because of that for me, at least. It is very frantic though, so sometimes it can be tough to avoid certain things, but I think it's a lot more manageable than something like a Vampire Survivors where you're moving around and blocking everything, but that's just me. Just quick little memories I wanted to bring out there because I just thought about it on the fly. All right. Save the best for last. Here it is. Shout out again to Touch Gameplay for this. I unfortunately have to admit something to all of you. As someone who has now played every single Mega Man X game and about half of the classic Mega Man games, and really enjoys especially the X games, this was the first time I had played Mega Man X. This was it. As well as, and I didn't mention it, I didn't bring the trailer up, but Mega Man 2, the mobile port. These were the first two Mega Man games I ever played. I will fully admit that, and I will fully admit I was a dumb child and I didn't know any better. But I was like, ooh, I have an iPod Touch. Ooh, look, Mega Man. I've heard of Mega Man. Let me check these games out. Not good. Not good ports. Now, to be fair, I beat Mega Man X on mobile. However, I turned it all the way down to easy, and to this day, I don't know if that's because I wasn't good at the game at the time, or if it's just the controls were so bad, because now I play it on normal on like the Mega Man X Legacy Collection on Switch, and I get through everything. I don't want to say perfectly fine, it's still a challenge, but not as much as I had originally playing the mobile version. I think part of it is due to the fact that it's mobile controls. And it's similar, it's kind of similar to a Sonic 4 Episode 1 in a way with like the overlay and stuff. And it's just, honestly, a lot of it, you know what it is? Because you could look at this and compare it to Sonic Dream Team and say, well, why is Sonic Dream Team so much better than playing this game on mobile? And the big thing comes down to Sonic Dream Team was designed for mobile. The level design is specifically keeping mobile platforms in mind. They're very open areas with not a ton of bottomless pits. Mega Man X has a lot of bottomless pits, a lot of enemies and obstacles coming across your way. Air dashing in this game sucks. Because you have to press, what, both right and bottom on that little touch overlay of the D-pad. Because you have the shoot button, you have the jump button. There might have been another way to do it, but still, not great. Also, no pixel art. Maybe you could enable that in the settings, but the default was the smooth graphics, where I believe the default in the Legacy Collection is the pixel art, but I could be wrong about that. Yeah, not a great version of a game. Mega Man 2, same thing. I couldn't beat Mega Man 2. There's a specific part in Wily Castle 1 where I was trying to use whatever item weapon it was, the floating platforms one, and I just couldn't make the jumps because there's such precise jumps in that level. So yeah, it's just very, I don't know. This was during an era where Capcom was putting like so many of their games on mobile. Hell, are the Resident Evil games on mobile? Let me know in the comments below. They probably are. But like these, the Mega Man games and the Phoenix Wright games are definitely the two big contenders that they put on mobile. This is the book that the textbook definition of games that were not originally designed for mobile, that were put on mobile, and just really not executed well. This version is really tough. It's even more difficult than the regular version. Just having that mobile control scheme does not work well for this game. So I don't know what they were thinking with these versions. Would not recommend playing these on mobile in the slightest. Get the anniversary collections, get the legacy collections, play those versions, please, and not the mobile versions of Mega Man games. Please, intense games like that, you do not want to be playing on mobile. So, well, didn't intend for the video to be this long, so sorry about that. But, you know, I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit for a few minutes about some of the good and bad of different mobile game ports, versions. Some games that were just designed for mobile. I decided not to include games like a Temple Run, Angry Birds, Fruit Ninja, because those games are so integral to mobile phones. These were more so franchises or games that existed on other platforms that were put on mobile or designed for mobile or not designed for mobile, but forced on there anyways. So those are just a few examples, but let me know your thoughts in the comments below on all these mobile versions of these games that I talked about. Let me know your favorite mobile ports, least favorite mobile ports, and anything else, your just thoughts on mobile gaming in general. But with that, thank you all so much for watching. I will catch you all in the next video or live stream. And until then, take care. If you can only game on your phone, it's not the end of the world. You're still gaming. That's what matters. See you later.